Today we're visiting Casa Nonna restaurant, and Chef Julie Elkind has invited us into her kitchen, where she will be creating recipes using creamy Kozy Shack's no sugar added puddings.
Hi, I'm Executive Pastry Chef Julie Elkind for E Squared Hospitality, and today I'm going to show you how to make Kozy Shack's no sugar added rice pudding filled cream puffs. So the first thing we're going to start with today is making our pâte de choux dough, which is a steam rise dough, which we're going to make so that we can add our no sugar added rice pudding into it when we're set. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is add our liquid ingredients in. So we're going to want to add our milk, our water, for this situation, I'm just supplementing our regular sugar for stevia. So you just get a little bit of the extra sugar that, we want to keep with our nice no sugar added theme. So we just want it a little bit healthier. So we're going to switch it out with the stevia. I have my salt and I have my butter. So I'm going to slowly add this in. What I'm going to do is I just want to turn my burner on to a high heat, and I just want to bring this up to a boil. So I just want to stir it and incorporate everything. So right now what we're doing is just melting our butter into our water and our sugar and our milk. And what it kind of looks like is when you make mashed potatoes, where you have a little of the butter separating on top. So now I've brought all of my liquid ingredient up to a boil. What I want to do is very quickly add all of my bread flour. So I'm going to add it all at once. And I'm going to start stirring immediately. So I've turned my heat off, is what we want. And we're going to get it where it looks like a paste in the pot. Once we get to this point, what I'm going to want to do is turn my heat back on because I want to cook the flour. So what we're going to create is mashed potatoes. This is exactly what it looks like. So once this pulls away from the pot, and you start creating a ball, which is our flour and our butter and our milk, it creates a starchy ball, which is the beginning of our pâte de choux dough. So what we want to be doing is starting to create a skin that actually sticks to the bottom of the pot. So we want to start folding it around in our pot. And then the next step that we're going to do, we want to use our stand mixer with a paddle attachment. And we're going to pour all of our pâte de choux dough into the stand mixer. Now we want to leave it at just medium to low speed so that what we're doing right now is releasing the steam from the dough. So this is what's going to get us our product. When we put it in the oven, it releases steam as well. So this is the beginning of it. So what we want to do is let this go in the mixer until we stop seeing steam come out of the bowl. So you can see we have a nice flow of steam going right now. So our dough is cool enough now that we don't have the steam releasing from the actual mixing bowl. So what I'm going to do is slowly add my eggs in. I want to add it slow because the dough is going to stick to the sides of the bowl, and we want to make sure it's really even and incorporates well. So I'm going to do them at maybe 1 or 2 eggs at a time. And I can kind of play with the speed. I can go from low to medium and between medium and high, but I wouldn't go too crazy because you can get dough kind of flying out of the bowl. And we want to keep it, nice and neat, and we want it to incorporate properly. When we're about halfway through adding our eggs, I want to shut it off for just a minute. I want to release my mixer, and I just want to scrape down the sides of the bowl so that we're not getting any clumps in the dough, and we want to make sure it's smooth. We can take it off the paddle attachment too. And then we want to continue adding our eggs. So you can see now that our dough is beginning to incorporate. So what I want to do is just lower my speed. And it should start looking like a batter. And it should start sticking to your paddle attachment. It's going to get a really nice smooth consistency. You can see that there's no clumps in the dough. This is where we want to be, and at that point we can shut our machine off and we can remove our dough from the bowl and we can start piping it onto this sheet tray where we're going to bake it. So now that our dough's set, this is what we want to see. We want to see a lot of nice elasticity, a nice smooth dough. This is the product that we want to look for. So what I'm going to do now is I personally like to use a piping bag. So I'm going to take my rubber spatula, my piping bag, and I'm going to fill it just a little bit so that I can pipe this onto the sheet tray and I can get nice uniform puffs that we can fill with our rice pudding. So you don't have to fill the entire bag because you don't want to work with too much product in the bag at one time. It can get kind of uncomfortable on your hand. So we just want to twist it off like this, and we need a sheet tray lined with parchment paper, and we don't need to grease it at all. This releases by itself off of the tray once it's done. So all we need right now is just to cut the tip of our bag with any household scissors. And we're gonna pipe rounds onto our sheet tray. I've already preheated my oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what I want to do with our dough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the oven for 10 minutes. I'm going to let it bake. A little tip for the cream puffs is that after 10 minutes you've let it bake, just to crack your oven door open a little bit because it's going to release some of the steam and it's going to help the dough rise. So our first 10 minutes we want to keep the oven door closed. Our second 10 minutes is we want to crack our oven door, so it's going to be 20 minutes in total for bake time. This is going to get your best product for the cream puffs. So 20 minutes has passed, and what I'm going to do now is just remove my cream puffs from the oven. So you can see they puffed up really nice, they browned, and this is the product that we want to see, just a little bit of crack on the top. This is good. This is what happens right before we open the oven halfway through our time of baking. So once it cracks like this, all it does is rise up and we get a really nice product like this. Once we take it out of the oven, we want to let this cool for about 20 to 25 minutes just so that the inside of it actually gets cool enough where we can put our no sugar added Kozy Shack rice pudding in, and it's not going to melt and ruin the product itself. So let's let it cool for 20 minutes. Now that my cream puffs are cool, I have a very wide option of things that I want to fill it with. So I can use any of the no sugar added Kozy Shack puddings. So today I'm going to use the rice pudding, but you can also use the chocolate pudding or the no sugar added tapioca, which all work really well in this because it hollows out, and these fit really great inside any of the cream puffs. So for now, today what we're going to do is fill them with the no sugar added rice pudding. So something you can do to actually make a hole is just use like a household straw. So what I'm going to do is just poke a hole in the side with the straw so there's somewhere to insert it so we can add our rice pudding. So I'll do maybe 3 of them right now. And I've put my rice pudding in a piping bag right now just because it's easiest to fill the cream puff with. So again, I want to just cut the tip off of it, set my stuff aside, and I can just fill it with my rice pudding. So you know it's full if it's starting to come out the side. This is okay because we can always clean up the side of it. So now that I have my cream puffs filled with the Kozy Shack no sugar added rice pudding, you can accompany it with many things. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a no sugar added raspberry coulis sauce to go with the cream puffs. So this is going to accompany the rice pudding very nicely, so we can get started on that. So now I'm going to show you how to make a no sugar added raspberry coulis sauce that can go with our no sugar added cream puffs filled with the Kozy Shack no sugar added rice pudding. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my raspberries into the pot. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of honey. You can use whatever honey you want. This is clover honey, and this is what's going to naturally sweeten our raspberries. So this is our natural sugar right here. And then I want to do equal parts water to our honey. So we had 1/4 cup of honey. We're now going to do 1/4 cup of water, and this is just going to help even out our recipe. We're going to turn our heat on medium. And I prefer whisk. I'm just going to kind of smash the berries a little bit. We really want to get the juices out so that our sauce is really nice and fragrant with raspberry. So right now my sauce just came to a boil, and at this point, what's happening is the pectin is releasing from the berries. So at this point what we're doing is reducing the sauce down. That's actually going to make it naturally thicker. So our sugar sweetens it, our sugars from the honey sweeten it. The water helps pull it all together, and the raspberries pectin helps create the sauce. So what we're doing now is just reducing our sauce down so we can get a nice Coulis sauce for our cream puffs. So after my sauce has come to a boil, it's reduced and become thick enough to coat the back of a spoon. I put it in a bowl and I allowed it to cool. So you can see how it's a nice thick sauce. It's sticking to the side of the bowl. So you can see how it reduced and thickened really nicely. This is the point when I can use it on top of my cream puffs. So this was filled with the rice pudding, the no sugar added rice pudding. One thing I can do to make it nice is put some fresh raspberries on the plate as well. So this is really adding another nice natural sugar to the plate. I can grab a spoon, and what I can do is just take some of my sauce and I can just spoon it over the cream puffs. So we're getting a really nice color contrast. We have the crunchiness of the cream puff on the outside, and we have the creaminess of the no sugar added Kozy Shack rice pudding on the inside. So we get a nice contrast, and we have a tart, no sugar added raspberry sauce that goes with it, and we have a really great healthy dessert that's great for little dinner parties or anything you want to use it for. So this is a really great recipe. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Executive Pastry Chef Julie Elkind. And for more great recipes, go to CozyShack.com or visit us on Facebook.
For heart-healthy tips, visit www.CozyShack.com.